The Labrador is considered one of the safest choices for a family dog. The problem is that precisely because of this sugary image, many people fall into the same trap. They take an ideal dog and then collide with the energy, the fur, the pulling on the leash, and the eternal appetite. If you're wondering whether a Labrador Retriever will be good for you, your family, and your lifestyle, in a moment I'll tell you plainly how it really is. Calmly, concretely, and without scaring you, I'll show you not only the pros of this breed, but also the moments when the Labrador turns out to be simply the wrong choice, even though on paper it looks great. Is a Labrador Retriever a dog for the family? Yes, but only if you really want to live with an active, sociable dog that is strongly people-oriented. A Labrador can be a great family dog, easy to train, and a very nice everyday companion, but it is not a self-playing dog that will raise itself just because it has a good character. If you expect a calm couch potato that will manage around children without work on your part, you may be very disappointed. On the other hand, if you like walks, can set boundaries, and don't mind that the dog wants to participate in everything, this breed has a lot to offer. The most important things which we'll return to are exercise, solitude, weight, and the ability to calm down. That's where it most often becomes clear whether a Labrador fits the home or only looks good in imagination. For whom is this breed a good choice? A Labrador will be a good choice for a person or family who really wants a dog for life, not just a dog to own. If you're the type of person who likes daily walks, willingly works with a dog, isn't afraid of training, and enjoys that the dog is close to people, a Labrador can be a bullseye. It's also a good breed for families who want a friendly, sociable dog that usually does well with children and other dogs. It will also suit people who like activity in the style walk, some fetch, some nose work, some training, and joint trips. But honestly, even the ideal candidate must accept a few things. A Labrador can be very emotionally intense, very food-driven, and slow to mature. It's not a plush mascot. It's a very nice dog, but one you have to handle sensibly. How the analyses from this section affected the ratings. Patience with children 5 out of 5. Dog Diplomat 4 out of 5. Turbo Energy Scale 3 out of 5. For whom would this breed not be a good choice? A Labrador will not be a good choice for people who want an easy dog just because the breed has a reputation for being gentle and family-oriented. If you work long hours away from home, don't have time for daily exercise, don't like fur, and count on the dog fitting in by itself, you can easily get into trouble here. The first typical trap is thinking, but Labradors are well-behaved by nature. They can be friendly, but without rules they can jump on people, pull, demand attention, and create chaos. The second trap, children will raise it because it will play with them. No, an adult must manage the dog in the home. Third, it will have a garden, so the exercise will happen by itself. Yo, it won't. Fourth, it's only short hair, so little work. Not necessarily. Fifth, if it's food motivated, it's easy to train. Yes, but it's equally easy to spoil. If you want a low-maintenance dog, the Labrador's probably not the right address. How the analyses from this section affected the ratings. Couch Potato Index 2 out of 5. Self-Entertainment Index 2 out of 5. Moner Scale 2 out of 5. Activity and daily needs. When it comes to daily needs, we must be frank. A Labrador needs real activity, not just a short, around-the-block outing. In a well-matched home, we usually talk about roughly 2 hours of activity per day, or even a bit more depending on the age, health, and temperament of the individual dog. And it's not just running. A good mix works. Walk, sniffing, some mental work, thoughtful fetch, sometimes swimming, sometimes obedience training. A typical good day with a lab is not a marathon, but sensibly arranged activity and then learning to rest. Time for a mini quiz. Let's check if you're paying attention. Guess what more often wrecks a home with a Labrador? Too little love? Or too little meaningful occupation? Without planned occupation, Lab will find one on its own. How the analyses from this section affected the ratings. Couch Potato Index 2 out of 5. Turbo Energy Scale 3 out of 5. Self-Entertainment Index 2 out of 5. Apartment, house in solitude? A Labrador can live in an apartment and can live in a house with a garden, but in both cases the same rule applies. The most important thing is not the square footage, but the owner's lifestyle. If the dog has exercise, contact, training, and can calm down, an apartment is not a problem. A garden, however, very often lulls owners into complacency. And that is one of the biggest myths with this breed. A garden does not replace walks, exploration, and work with a person. A Labrador was not created to sit alone on the grass, but to be active together with its owner. As for solitude, an adult well-trained dog will usually manage a few hours alone at home, but this is not a breed I would plan for daily long absences. If you regularly disappear for the whole day, a Labrador may simply cope poorly or get so bored that it starts to create its own entertainment. As we already have seen in our quiz, how the analyses from this section affected the ratings. Apartment Dweller Scale 4 out of 5. Garden Myth Scale 2 out of 5. Warner Scale 2 out of 5. Self-Entertainment Index 2 out of 5. Children and other animals. In terms of family life, the Labrador really has strong potential. It's usually a friendly, sociable dog oriented toward people, so it often does well with children. But one thing is very important: don't confuse a gentle character with automatic safety. A Labrador is not a factory nanny. With small children, the problem is often not bad intent, but excitement, body mass, and momentum. Therefore, the family should enforce simple rules. The dog has its place. Children don't disturb it while eating or resting, and an adult doesn't leave the dog plus toddler relationship unsupervised. With other dogs, a Labrador usually gets along well, especially if it was sensibly socialized. Living with a cat often works too, but it doesn't happen automatically. Calm introductions and arousal control matter a lot. Myth to diffuse? A Labrador by definition is suitable for everything and everyone. No. The potential is high, but upbringing still makes a huge difference. How the analyses from this section affected the ratings. Patience with children 5 out of 5. Dog Diplomat 4 out of 5. Cat Tolerant 3 out of 5. Grooming Health and Costs. You know, the bowl does not fill itself. If you enjoy our movies, please donate. You will find the donation link in the description and the pinned comment. A Labrador has short, dense double coat, and here's a real talk moment: short hair does not mean little shedding at home. This dog can shed seriously, so it's worth having a good rubber brush or an undercoat tool on hand, plus regularly checking ears, nails, and teeth. Regarding health, the recurring topics are joints, weight, ears, and broad preventive care. That doesn't mean every Labrador will get sick, but it's a breed where long-term thinking really pays off. Approximate monthly maintenance costs are about $80 up to $220. Of that, food is about $35 to $90, prevention $15 to $40, and a vet reserve $30 to $85 per month. All our recommendations for the basic Labrador kit can be found in the video description and the pinned comment under the video. Remember that when you buy from the stores we recommend, you pay the same, but support our channel. 2 tips from me. First, watch body weight from the start. Second, don't ignore the ears, especially if the dog loves water. In a moment we'll gather all this into one simple answer. Is a Labrador realistically a good choice for you? How the analyses from this section affected the ratings. Fur in the home, 2 out of 5. Grooming salon, 3 out of 5. Veterinary risk, 2 out of 5. Owner's wallet, 3 out of 5. Final assessment. My final answer is yes, if you want a family active dog and you're ready to really live with it, not just own it. Probably not if you're looking for a simple, low-maintenance dog that's tolerant of upbringing mistakes. The Labrador has a huge plus for character, cooperation with humans, and family potential, but it can also very quickly expose a lack of consistency at home. In our proprietary daily manageability index, the Labrador scored 3.5 out of 5 points, which is a good result, but not no maintenance. It's a dog that, with proper handling, gives a lot of joy, but you must honestly accept its needs. Exercise, weight control, learning to calm down, and human presence. If that sounds like something you can deliver daily, a Labrador can be a great choice. If you already feel it's too much, it's really better to check another breed than to frustrate yourself and the dog later. Similar breeds to consider. If the Labrador is close to you but you want to compare options, first I'd look at the Golden Retriever. It's the most natural alternative for someone who wants a family dog very focused on people, but remember that it usually brings more grooming due to longer hair. The second breed to consider is the flat-coated Retriever, a similar working and family direction, but usually even more lively, more revved up, and less for people seeking calm. The third option is the Nova Scotia duck-tolling Retriever, a retriever in a smaller format but often more emotionally intense and less easy than a typical Labrador. So if you want something very similar, it's Golden. If you want more energy, take Flat. If you want a smaller but still active dog, then Toller may be your choice. And if the Labrador seems a bit too much or not the right direction, be sure to also watch our video about the Golden Retriever. We'll put the link on the end screen. Don't forget, click subscribe and like before YouTube decides you don't like cool stuff. Subscribe so you don't miss new episodes.